ready to get this fight right off. We are going to put the word out, and like I said, we get started whether the chat fills up or not. Welcome to Kalari's Craft and Chat. I'm your host, KalariGxC or KalariC on YouTube. We are about to paint a custom Zelda diorama that I originally downloaded from Thingiverse. And this is not the first time I've painted a diorama like this, but I am super excited about this one because I am getting to custom paint one of my favorite characters, video game characters of all time. And I'm just excited. And like I said, after the holidays, when I'm done making custom figures and stuff for giveaways, like noodles and other stuff that I have planned for giveaway boxes, I am going to embark on my biggest fan project ever with Sailor Moon. I just finished the finishing touches on the Silver Millennium Castle. I have all the characters that I want to currently print already in 3D files, and I am going to go through a step by step on the making and the creating and the printing and the painting of all of these characters. And some of them I might not paint because we have gotten a new Flash Forge 4-spool printer that'll help me print in different colors. I'm not going to give up painting because I love it. It's relaxing. But this is going to help me with putting stuff into my friend's shop and for doing giveaways without having to constantly paint the giveaway figures. But we are going to get fired off because there is a lot to talk about. And we are going to get started with Cowboy Paul and Trump's latest attempt to distract from his current mess with the Epstein files, the fallout from the shutdown, the disillusion of his MAGA loyal, and so much. And I have a lot to talk about so many people who are playing themselves with giving grace to certain people and other things. But we're going to get this fired off. We're going to start painting the Zelda diorama, and I hope that you enjoy watching this craft and chat with me. Let's get Texas Paul fired off.
So Trump again tonight threatened to invade or attack militarily Nigeria. Let's talk about it. This is old Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. I want to tell you something, folks. Nigeria is a big country. There's 240 million people in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And it's about roughly 1.5 times the size of France. Trump is an old pudding brain dotard that does not understand what attacking Nigeria militarily means.
Nope.
How the country breaks down as far as sectarian lines are concerned, religious lines. He doesn't understand the culture of Nigeria, and
He just knows there's black people there. Let's be 100%. He just knows there's black people there, and one of Trump's biggest nemesis are black people because we don't vote for him, we don't like him, and we don't fall for his "Make America Great Again" okey doke because we know he's of the age where Jim Crow was his people's way of keeping us down. And a lot of people get upset when we mention that. Oh, we're not bigots. We just want the niceties of America. What niceties? Where certain demographic got to call people out of their face and behave awful because they think they're up there in the social hierarchy. You're not fooling anybody if you're still back in this awful with ties to an actual predator cabal. I'm just saying.
doesn't want to. He is an old pudding brain idiot that's being led around by Christian nationalists screaming, God wills it.
Yep.
You know, I did a breakdown on this in my show, Coffee with Texas Paul, and I won't go that deep into it, but just let me give you a Cliff's Notes. This isn't a fight over, religion. It's
nope.
not.
Even though they try to lie
It's a
and say
fight between farmers and herders that are fighting over diminishing resources due to desertification in the northern portion of Nigeria. The African desert is encroaching farther and farther into Nigeria, and they have fewer and fewer resources to make a living off of. And while we're threatening them with violence, China has been helping them reclaim their desert. You know, this is really similar to the idiocy that Trump engaged in with Panama.
Yep.
You know, he threatens Panama, but China built them ports, is helping them rebuild their power infrastructure, giving them.
Let me tell you something. I'm not a fan of Xi Jinping's regime by a long shot. But when I say so many people have slept on the fact that China has been ingratiating themselves and helping rebuild or build up countries that people write off, it's not by accident. It is completely by design. Because these people are more prone to be loyal to a country that helps them economically and agriculturally than a country that constantly threatens them. So if, because of this dumbass president, we get into a conflict with China, there are going to be more people that side with China over the United States, and that is by design.
Low interest loans to improve their country and do more business. And here we are engaging in gunboat diplomacy. This is stupidity.
Yep.
This is stupidity in the extreme. This is literally a bunch of Christian nationalists leading a broken, mindless old man around by the nose, screaming, God wills it. This isn't about Christian or Muslim violence. Hell, the Christians kill as many people as the Muslims do.
Yep. Organized religion.
Folks,
the number one killer.
This. Think Mogadishu times 10.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump again tonight threatened to invade.
Okay. That was Cowboy Paul. He does do live streams, you guys. If you ever want to catch him, he's also on Blue Sky. I know that for a fact. I don't have a Twitter anymore, so I can't tell you if he's on Twitter. And I'm not sure if he's on Spoutable yet. But I'm telling you, like I said, there are a lot of us using our voices, whether it's on or off social media, to confront stuff like this. Because there's a lot of people out there talking about how the Harris campaign didn't run enough on these wars. When she said her first thing as an elected official would have been to call a ceasefire. But some of you want to play games and play the okey doke of, it wasn't enough. We thought Trump wouldn't be serious in turning Palestine into a literal resort. We thought we would believe him when he said that he was going to force Bibi into an agreement, which was a laughable thing because it wasn't even a few days after this piece of paper that meant nothing that Trump waved around like he had found peace in the Middle East that they went back to attacking Palestinian settlers. So all of you who backed him, you played yourself. And all those of us who told you so can do is remind you that we fucking told you so. But we are going to keep it moving. We have got a lot to cover, including this childish thing that Trump did to a literal press agent. And people are acting brand new. This is the same guy that mocked the disabled reporter, his first attempt and win of the presidency, which should disqualify him. So anyone acting like, oh my God, I can't believe he said this to a reporter. Are you kidding me right now? But let's get this fired off.
A tense exchange that President Trump had with the press aboard Air Force One is now going viral. It stems from the words that he chose to try to get a female reporter to stop asking questions about the Epstein files. Here's the clip.
Yeah, Jennifer, there's nothing incriminating in the files, Venezuela, sir.
That reporter was Catherine Lucy from Bloomberg. She's not commented on the exchange, but she has drawn the president's ire before, saying that Trump has said, rather, that he doesn't know why Bloomberg employs her.
And for you that did not hear it because I was talking, we're going to play that one more time because this is the president of the United States saying this crap.
A tense exchange that President Trump had with the press aboard Air Force One is now going viral. It stems from the words that he chose to try to get a female reporter to stop asking questions about the Epstein files. Here's the clip.
Yeah, Jennifer, there's nothing incriminating in the files, Venezuela, sir.
quiet, quiet, Piggy. This is not a man that should have ever been allowed into our White House, into the office of the president. He can't handle questions like a normal adult person. He acts like he's the only president that's been ever asked harsh questions. But this is what we are dealing with. Now, to piggyback off of what Texas Paul was saying, his former vice president, Mike Pence, has his concerns about Trump picket fights with Nigeria because anybody with a brain could see how this is destabilizing to our global credibility. All except for the doofus currently invading our White House. So let's get this fired off because there are a lot of people on the GOP right now that are about sick of Trump and his antics.
I'm very confident that as the president gives consideration to the sale of F-35s to Saudi Arabia or any other country that will put the interest of America first.
I don't believe that. And this is in light of Trump's invitation to Saudi Arabia to come make deals. Now, I've said it before, and the memes have spread about this. Those of you who might not know the history of the Trump family might not know that Donald Trump's great-grandfather immigrated from Germany and made his money running brothels. Literally an old-school pimp, pimping out women. And now his grandson, or great-grandson, is making his living pimping out American military things, more than likely secrets, and other things to the highest bidder, including the Saudis, who, need I remind you, own things like Fox News, or propaganda network, as I like to call them, and has been destabilizing both our entertainment and other resources for years now. Some of you who make fun of people who are Arab will jump right into the pockets of the royal family, who are known for their war crimes and crimes against humanity, including killing journalists like Jamal Khashoggi years ago. And that happened under Trump's first term as a regime wannabe. I think people need to understand that it all plays into what so many of us were saying about this man being compromised, about this man not being a good enough person to be our president. But some of you just want to drink the orange, stale, poisonous Kool-Aid because you really think he's going to keep your hierarchy on the social order things at the top without realizing what you are all sacrificing. And yes, I have seen the takes of former MAGAs burning their stuff. But I don't afford grace to people who knew this was bad and are only mad because he's hurting you economically. I'm not breaking bread with you until you vote accordingly.
It's extremely important in any sale that we ensure that that technology does not make its way into China's hands or into the hands of other adversarial nations. And
you
so
need to stop with that.
I have concerns
about
the sale of F-35s to Saudi Arabia or any nation that could not assure the United States that technology and the great advancements that we made with the F-35 don't fall into the hands of nations that are hostile to our interests.
There's a lot of nations hostile to our interests, though, Mr. Pence. There are a lot of nations that were looking forward to our destabilization, which your boy helped. Whether you like it or not, you are forever linked at the seams of this awful. And there are way too many people that are still pretending like it's not time to panic. It's not time to 5150 this mofo. Anonymous here has all the tea on his outburst, on how ridiculous he's been. And I am just sick of people acting like it's not a big deal. This man has done everything he can to destabilize us. He has done everything he can to make it seem like, oh, the Democrats, don't look here. Don't look at my awful. Just focus on the Democrats. But that strategy is really starting to fail him. Because he can say, look over here as much as he wants. But people are tired of looking away from his awful just because he thinks he can blame it on other people. Trump is bad for business. And I don't know how much more the American people could take of his shenanigans before it becomes way too much. But we're going to get Anonymous fired up. This is a little bit of a longer one than their normal format because there is a lot to cover with his nonsense. Let's get this fired up.
Politicians, we do not pledge allegiance to cults, brands, or hats. We do not protect men who hide behind lawyers, investigations, and propaganda while the truth screams from their own documents. We watch, we connect patterns, and when the pressure explodes and a man like Donald Trump starts to crack in public, we do not look away. Donald Trump is in utter panic and turmoil. His meltdown late last night was a sight to behold. He was pretending that he is now in support of the House voting to release the Epstein files. Out of nowhere, after months of resistance and spin, he jumps online and posts a long, rambling message where he says, "Of course, I always wanted the House to release the Epstein files.
Liar.
That was always my position." He wants you to forget what he has actually been saying and doing the whole time. He wants you to pretend there was never a flip, never a reversal, never an attempt to bury this. But when you actually read what he wrote, the mask slips. Beneath the bluster, he says, "I think that the House oversight should receive whatever they are, quote, legally entitled to." That phrase is the key. Whatever they are legally entitled.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people aren't versed in legalese, so they'll go, well, doesn't that prove he wants it released? Actually, it doesn't. When you say legally entitled to, he can put any part of those files under either redaction or all right, suppressed it because it has his name in it. Trump is not fooling anybody with a bit of a brain, but he is so open that his crumbling base will buy his bullshit just a little bit longer because he's selling us bit by bit.
Title to. It sounds reasonable. It sounds technical, but that is lawyer language, not full transparency. That is how you sound like you are cooperating while you are already writing the excuses to withhold everything that matters. Let me spell out the plan.
Yep.
Donald Trump has ordered the Department of Justice to go after Democrats in connection with Epstein. He is pointing the finger and saying, "That's who the real villains are. Go after the Democrats." He names Democrat-aligned figures, talks about Democrat operatives, tries to reframe Epstein's web as a one-party scandal. And once you launch that investigation, you suddenly have a built-in shield. Here is what they are going to say.
Exactly. And just to quickly interrupt, I need people to understand that this man has packed the investigation with people who defended him, not successfully, because those 34 charges did stick and he needed the Supreme Court to bail him out of that. It is a compromised, if anything, investigation that he's going to pull so that he can distract from the very provable fact that he had very close ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and more than likely a cabal of wealthy people, despite partisan lines, who trafficked and indulged in sexual acts with minors. Point blank, period. It's bad for Trump.
And I am calling it out now because there is an ongoing investigation into Democrats. The House Oversight Committee is entitled to no documents because the investigation, pun intended, trumps disclosure obligations, supersedes disclosure obligations, and thus no documents are going to be turned over beyond whatever small set they choose. That is where they are headed with this. Pretend to support release, then hide behind a manufactured investigation to block it. This pressure on Trump is not appearing out of nowhere. It comes at a time when we have seen additional Epstein-related emails get released and resurface in the public eye. One of those emails is from Jeffrey Epstein to Steve Bannon a few months before Epstein is ultimately arrested and dies. Epstein writes to Bannon, and this is the quote, "Now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears that you and I are friends." That message is dated June 28, 2019.
Yep, during Trump's first term. Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of access to people in Trump's orbit and to Trump himself, including that recording of Epstein being able to call the White House in the middle of the freaking night. And the thing with Bannon is, he is one of the main characters who keep trying to push this whole Trump was anointed to be president bullshit, which drives me nuts when it comes to apparently not so Christian people who run with that. There is no mandate for a devil like that to be president. But some of you are so into your white supremacy that you're willing to corrupt even your religion to back an evil force. It's ridiculous.
Epstein will die a few months after that message. Just think about that. Epstein casually talking about a president of the United States waking up in the middle of the night sweating over who Epstein is friendly with, while Trump's public line is that he barely knew Epstein, that they were hardly connected. The written record shows Epstein talking about Trump like someone with deeper worries. So what is actually going to be in these files? What is in the full stack of communications, logs and records that Trump suddenly claims he always wanted released? As Trump spirals out of control, instead of calmly answering that question, he lashes out at the easiest targets, his own people. He continues to attack Marjorie Taylor Greene. He now refers to her as Marjorie Trader. He calls her a whack job, whack.
And that is how Trump has always acted. If you're not 100% loyal, even to the point of delusion with him, he'll turn on you. The thing that bothers me the most about this is that people are still trying to laud Marjorie Taylor Greene as some sort of hero because she's daring to go against Trump without understanding the nuance of that heifer and what she will do to pretty much ingratiate herself to any side that can advance her. And word from the Hill and beyond was she was pissed that she wasn't getting support for a potential senatorial bid. And because there was no way she could make a run for governor of Georgia, she's cutting party ties and acting like, thank you for the lurk, Red Baron. She's acting like she is all of a sudden crusading against Trump and how she's not loyal, when there is plenty of sound bites and proof. And then you've got people, allegedly liberals, saying, well, we should give her grace. She's being threatened. Stares in me and several other black women who have been threatened for years for our political stances. Stares in, she is just trying to save herself and would turn on us quicker than she turned on Trump because she doesn't care about anybody but herself. But you also have to weigh that these people are still trying to redeem people like Matt, I don't pay my back child support, Walsh. Because apparently Walsh Freedom got a couple of tweets that made him sound reasonable without fully taking on the scope of all the awful he did for years behind Trump. Some of you are willing to give flowers to evil because those flowers sound like they're on our side. But let me tell you, if they weren't cast out by this bum, if they didn't see that it's more lucrative to currently call him out, they would still be sucking his deformed mushroom, you know what.
Wacky Marjorie Trader Brown. He adds a cruel little flourish. Remember, green turns to brown when there is rot involved. That is his idea of clever.
What an idiot.
Donald Trump posted yesterday evening that Marjorie Taylor Greene is...
And we know Trump does not like brown anything. He's a complete and utter bigot.
Working overtime to try and portray herself as a victim. In actuality, she is the cause of all of her own problems. The fact is, nobody cares about this traitor to our country. Those are his words.
Which
Donald Trump calling Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of his most vocal former loyalists, a traitor to our country. And what had she just been talking about publicly before he wrote that? She had been talking about the threats that she was getting, death threats she was receiving. She said security firms were reaching out to her, telling her that her life may be in jeopardy. She describes...
Which, even for a bitch that I cannot personally stand, that's a lot. And nobody, whether they're loyal to him or former loyal to him, should have to put up with stuff like this. But this is what you get when you're a MAGA loyal until you're not. And that is the problem with those types. They don't see anything wrong with defending Trump until they realize, hey, this guy is bad for me. He's bad for my constituents. I need to jump ship. And then what do you get for jumping ship? You get him calling you a traitor and putting your life in danger. Was it worth it, Marge? Was it worth the cost of your soul to have gone through all of this? Is it going to be worth it to you and your family to have to worry about crazy people that are still loyal to this nonsense coming after you? This is for any Republican that is still trying to hold the line. He will throw you out the moment he feels you are not of use to him. You need to jump ship like yesterday. It's not a joke.
Being warned that her safety is at risk, and Donald Trump, seeing that, just keeps on going, calling her a traitor over and over again in front of millions of his followers. That is not a mistake. That is a deliberate escalation. It should also be noted that earlier in the day on Sunday, Donald Trump attacked Indiana State Senator Greg Good because Indiana did not agree to a mid-decade gerrymander. Trump blamed Greg Good personally. He called this Republican a rhino. He singled him out. Shortly afterwards, Greg Good received multiple death threats. He then posted a statement. This evening, my family and I were victims of a swatting incident during which a fake communication was sent to law enforcement officials. Someone used law enforcement as a weapon against his family because he got on the wrong side of Trump's political goals. That is the atmosphere Trump cultivates. Anyone he labels a traitor becomes a target. Now look at another layer of Trump's plan. On one hand, he pretends that he now supports the release of the Epstein files. On the other hand, because he ordered an investigation into Democrats, the Department of Justice can now claim that House oversight, and by extension the American people, are entitled to no additional documents while the investigation remains pending.
Exactly. This is why his whole idea of seemingly being okay with this release was garbage. He knew, because he has a bunch of legal sycophants currently invading our White House in his administration, including Pam Bondi, who just got finished firing an ethics lawyer who questioned why she was taking so many bribes, so many alleged gifts that goes against ethics. He was literally doing his job and he was let go. Because this is the most corrupt administration in American history. And there are too many people still willing to look away from this awful because they think they're going to be great. These poor little summer children. I almost feel sorry for you if you weren't purposely destroying everything for all of us. Okay, let's got some of Zelda's golden bits painted to stand out. Need to do her shoulders too. And I will have to go over this again once I add the other colors. But for now, I'm telling you, the insignia on this Zelda figures are just so detailed and nice. And I love that I can highlight them with just a little bit of paint. Okay, we're going to get this one too. But we're going to keep this going because there's still so much more to this. It's ridiculous.
He shifts the operational part of this over to Pam Bondi.
Hey, Arena, it's good to see you, dear. And yes, I am a huge fan of The Legend of Zelda and Elves. That's all I play in DDO. Well, I'm a TRing right now, so I'm doing different races, but Kalari will be back as an elf in her final life. It's good to see you, and thank you for the lurk. I've recently gone back to my Sundays in Shadowdale. It's no longer solo now. I'm kind of sad about that. So I do still play D&D, and I still do try to live stream it when I can. But I am mostly back to paint crafts and talk nonsense about the ridiculousness in our society today. So thank you for the lurk.
Because MAGA Mike Johnson was not able to fend off a discharge petition in the House, enough members from both parties signed on to force a vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and his speaker could not stop it. So Trump hands the ball to Bondi, his attorney general and loyalist, and uses her to formalize the "we are investigating Democrats" shield. But you also have to look at the Senate, because Trump is counting on them too. In the Senate, you have MAGA Republican Senator John Barrasso, who does not commit to holding a Senate vote on an Epstein Files release.
Remember these names. Every single senator who tries to obstruct this investigation, every single House of Representative who votes against this or tries to stand with this nonsense, you need to remember them, and they need to lose their jobs. No joke.
This is one of the key people, along with Senate Leader John Thune, who would determine if a measure even makes it to the floor. Barrasso goes on television and is asked,
Epstein measure passes the House, will it get a vote in the Senate? It'll come to the Senate. We'll take a look at it. If it passes the House, we'll see what it says. And
it's totally going to pass the House. You know why? Because a lot of the victims were on the floor of the House. And despite Mike Johnson looking disinterested in their stories, a lot of people had their stories resonate with them. A lot of people don't like the fact that young girls are being trafficked, abused, and harmed. Nor do they like the fact that the sitting president of the United States is currently giving carte blanche to one of their literal abusers who's supposed to be in jail for the rest of her days. People are tired of this. And anybody who tries to tell you differently is a liar or trying to cover for pedophiles.
All want accountability and transparency. But to me, this is not about truth. It's not about justice. This is about an attempt by the Democrats to make President Trump a lame duck president.
He's already a lame duck, rigor mortis, weekend at Bernie's type president. The fact that you can cover for this man who has no decorum, has no desire to actually lead us, but to bilk us, all the while pretending to be a Christian and getting people stoked up to cause nothing but trouble for everybody here. I am so sick of Trump's sycophants. I am so sick of people who should know better, who want access to power over safety for all American people. And your little kingdom built on lies is crumbling down around you.
And I'm not going to aid and abet them in their efforts to do that.
But you don't commit to a vote, Senator? You don't commit to holding a vote if the Epstein measure passes in the House? Just very quickly, we're almost out of time.
Well, but what I've said and what Senate Leader Thune has said is we'll look at it, we'll look at what's come over. I don't even know that it's going to pass the House.
It will pass the House, and you're sputtering because you are afraid that you'll show disloyalty to the man-child. And I'm telling you right now, dude, it ain't worth your career. This should not be your legacy. Literally protecting pedophiles. Unless your name's on that list, there's no reason to go down with this shitty ship. I do not understand it. I do not understand the loyalty to this awful regime. But so many Republican politicians have steeped their whole entire existence on backing this awful. And I don't think I would take that gamble if I was a politician. It's not worth it. He is not going to remember your loyalty. He is only going to remember that the Republican Party in a whole, once he loses again or gets 5150s finally, a 25th Amendment, that you were all betrayers. He probably doesn't even know your name.
The Senate will make a decision. We'll have a discussion about it and make a decision.
Translation. They are leaving themselves maximum room to block it while pretending they are being thoughtful.
Yep.
Trump also knows this. He knew he was going to get humiliated by the House. He had been told that there may be over 100 members of Congress ready to vote to release the Epstein files, which would have been a public humiliation for him after he tried to stop it. Yep. So he flips. Now he is pretending, oh, I always wanted it released. He says it like the rest of us must be idiots. That was always my position. He thinks that is how stupid we are. That he can cover
And remember, because some people like to bring up, oh, he campaigned on releasing them. He tried to say the last administration didn't do it. But the moment he had the chance to do so, he was briefed by his FBI head, Kash Patel, and several others that it looked bad for him, and that he instructed Mike Johnson, the MAGA idiot, to shut down our government. He was willing to stop the airports during the busiest holiday season. He was willing to starve 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP. And his head of the USDA, this gargoyle-looking lady, is now saying that people who are on it, you're going to have to reapply. So remember that. He was so willing to distract from the fact that he has ties to Jeffrey Epstein, like we ain't got eyeballs and haven't seen all those pictures. We don't have ears and heard all the recordings between him and Trump and key people, and his ability to call on key Trump people like it was nothing. Some of yous may fall for that okie doke stuff, but the rest of us, we are not interested in the lies of this regime. And everything comes to light when the truth is shined upon it. Just saying.
Months of obstruction with one late-night post. Listen to the post that was read out loud regarding the release of the Epstein files. Trump says, "As I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote."
You mean after you called a woman piggy because you didn't like the way she asked you a question? Fuck out of here. He's ridiculous.
To release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by...
If it's a Democrat hoax, why did it take you so long to get this position? When your lawyer is telling you, no, he ran on releasing them. But he shut down our country to stop that release. You can't have it both ways. You can't be both the victim and the aggressor. And you can't say you're for one thing when you worked your ass off, shut down our government, costing us billions a day, not millions, billions a day with your antics. And now going to try to act like, nope, I was always for releasing these files. And I'm going to prove that it was a Democrat hoax. If it was a Democrat hoax, Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have went to jail and allegedly committed suicide for it. I'm just saying, when the math don't math, you need to throw the equation out.
Radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. Then he brags that the Department of Justice...
Once again, Trump and the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court with majority leads. The man that's sitting in the White House is currently under the Republican banner, though I need to remind you that almost 9 years ago to this day, Trump was a registered Democrat. And if you don't believe it, you can check that out for yourself. He is literally on recording back in the late 80s, early 90s, saying that while he supports the Democrats, if he wanted to run, he would have to run for a Republican because only Republicans would vote for somebody like him. Trump is a player. He is an opportunist. And he used a lot of you weirdos to do his dirty work, including backing somebody who is credibly accused of both assault, both sexually, verbally, and physically, and who has ties to this notorious predator ring. You just want to back off, well, go ahead. But don't act like some of us didn't tell you so.
This has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public and says they are looking at various Democrat operatives. Bill Clinton,
ridiculous.
Reid Hoffman.
And it's funny that he brings up Bill Clinton because everybody's running with that stupid rumor about Bubba, ignoring that Epstein's own brother said that there is a shipping magnate who fits that term, and that Bubba is a general term for Southern big dudes. And Bill Clinton did have a weight fluctuation when he was first in the White House, but I'm guaranteeing you, if there was anything on Bill Clinton directly, it would have been released already. He is salivating to make this a Democrat problem when your name and key players in your administration are all over it, just from the 22,000 emails that were released.
Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein. He finishes with the line, and the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to.
Bullcrap.
I don't care.
Legally.
He puts "I don't care" in all caps, like shouting it makes it true. Then he adds, "All I do care about is that Republicans get back on point." Do you see the language he used?
Get back on point, meaning fall in the line or else. Trump's threats to you should make you sick. Whether I like Republicans or not, the fact that so many are willing to give up their careers and legacy to back this madman, I almost want to pity them. Because you threw your hat into a demented boat, and there's no way you're going to separate yourself from the Trump stank now. I hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth you saying "Make America Great Again," as he's willing to strip all the norms, as he's willing to let American people suffer, as he's willing to cause wars unnecessarily against countries like Venezuela, soon Colombia, because they're back in Venezuela, and plenty of other places unnecessarily to try to keep his position as a strong man alive when he's anything but. It's embarrassing. But it's not surprising, because some of you really steep your whole identity in illusion, in myths. And because of that, we can't have nice things. It's insanity to me.
I've ordered the investigation into Democrat operatives.
Yeah.
They can have what they are legally entitled to. That tells you everything. That means they are not going to turn over everything. That means they are already setting the boundary where anything truly dangerous to him can be tucked behind the words ongoing investigation and legal entitlement. Now go back to that moment on the tarmac in Florida, when Donald Trump was heading onto Air Force One from Florida, where he was hiding over the weekend on the taxpayer dime.
Exactly. He is more at Mar-a-Lago than anywhere else. Yeah, I remember on media 24/7. Anytime President Biden left the White House to do anything, it was a news day. Everybody, ooh, is he doing his job? They even had more hit pieces about his dog biting a Secret Service agent than they do about this man who's constantly golfing on the taxpayer's dime, along with misappropriating funds and then lying about giving $2,000 in tax rebates and tariff rebates. It's ridiculous.
Asked about the Epstein probe.
Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration.
He then pivots to attacking Thomas Massie, saying his poll numbers are showing he's at a 6% approval rating right now. He mocks him as Rand Paul Jr. and complains that he never votes for the Republican Party. So in one breath...
No, he votes for the party and his constituents. He puts the people, as much as I hate to say this, before your pride, Trump. And that's your problem. You want people to only be loyal to you at the detriment of the people they're supposed to serve. And need I remind you, as the president, it is your job also to serve the people. But when you put a malignant tumor of a narcissist in charge of stuff, this is what happens. He doesn't know how to serve anybody but himself. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And now we are stuck with the fallout of this disgusting orange bomb.
He calls the question fake news, calls the reporter terrible, dismisses concerns about a smokescreen, and smears the Republican who pushed to actually release the files.
So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rate.
Your hair is falling out. My thing is, the whole thing of going against Massey is ridiculous. Because while you might still have some loyal lapdogs, there are more and more Republicans who are just exhausted from all of this. Exhausted from the pivots. Exhausted from the way he catapults back and forth over, oh no, I'm down with releasing the files, but how dare you vote to release the files? Do as I say, not as I say. It is ridiculous.
Right now, and we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party.
He claims they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success.
What success? You mean the longest government shutdown, Republican-led shutdown that we've had in the history of America? You mean all the people who were struggling without paychecks because they were furloughed by your ridiculousness? Do you mean the air traffic controllers who almost didn't show up during the busiest holiday season? The troops who literally had to use host countries to beg for food? The millions of Americans who now have skyrocketed health insurance premiums, who may not be able to keep their health care at all? Or the families who had to give up SNAP benefits for almost a month, thus making their children and elderly people starve? This is what you call success, Trump? I want to see how you... No, I don't want to see how you fail, because we're already suffering.
That we're having as a party.
That is the reflex. Anyone who links him to Epstein or questions his motives is fake or a traitor, even if they are a hard-right Republican. He then yells at a Bloomberg reporter in another exchange.
Tell him... Will you let me finish my statement? You are the worst. You're with Bloomberg, right? You are the worst. I don't know why they even have you.
This is not a calm leader with nothing to hide.
No, it's an 80-year-old man-child who's throwing a tantrum because the walls are closing around him, and his ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his pedophile ring is becoming more and more known. And it should be shameful to anybody still backing him, but he still has a bunch of craven cowards who really want access to making him do what they want, because as long as they are really freaking good to the leader, he'll let them get away with corruption. He'll let them get away with stealing from the American people. He is like a slush fund for corrupt politicians right now, and it's a shame.
This is a man who snaps at the slightest pushback and cannot control his anger when someone says the wrong name at the wrong time. While he is losing his temper with the press, his Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, steps out to play the statesman. Blanche is the same person who served as Trump's criminal defense lawyer when he was found guilty on 34 felony counts.
Remember that. He wasn't even competent enough to successfully defend this idiot versus those charges that Letitia James helped him get. And yet, he's being in charge of this investigation, which is a complete conflict of interest and ethics. This is what we're up against. Complete and utter disregard for the law and complete, utter violations of protocol. But some of you want to still act brand new.
Now he wears a different title and says,
and so we're going to continue to find out if there's anybody responsible, anybody that hasn't been held accountable, and if they're...
The man in the White House currently is responsible. I know you're trying to deflect, you loser. But the man currently affected the White House is the one responsible for all this. And I can't believe that I got to keep saying this. But I will keep saying it because it needs to be said. The call's coming from inside the White House.
They're out there.
People want more transparency, not more excuses. They do not want a selective hunt that magically avoids the most powerful people in the room. Instead of answering that, Trump pivots to a completely different lie. He claims this Thanksgiving prices are 25% cheaper,
Lies.
And that Walmart has said so. The commentary goes over this again.
I can tell you, once again, as a mom who has to shop for groceries for my family, that is complete and utter bunk and bullshit. Anybody who's a mom with kids can tell you that prices have gone up consistently. And that somebody who goes all out every year for Thanksgiving, because it's the one holiday that I put my all into it, because even for Christmas, I ain't making big dinners and shit again. The price of everything has gone up. Meats are over the top. Even normal veggies and stuff that we get as side dishes. I was lucky because, like I said, grew up with Great Depression grandparents who grew up during hard times. So I learned things like buy extra. Last year, I bought extra bags of the seasoned stuffing. I also saved stale bread to compensate. We grow our own potatoes and stuff out here because, honestly speaking, it is getting more and more expensive just to shop for basic shit. So when I say the holidays is going to be really tight for American citizens, I'm not being hyperbolic.
Again and again, the new Walmart Thanksgiving list that he is bragging about includes 14 items this year, whereas in 2024, under former President Biden, it included 21 items.
Exactly.
Most of this year's items on Walmart's list of 14 are the generic value Walmart brand, as opposed to last year, when more of them were name brands. They cut out items.
Exactly. It is all a stunt at this point. They want you buying the great value brand because they don't want you believing that things are bad. But it used to be you could get name brand stuff on sale at these stores. It used to be you didn't have to worry about stuff like that. And now he's got his propaganda channel making claims that, well, Christmas and the holidays should be a little bit more tight. Don't buy gifts for your grandparents. They won't remember it. Don't buy gifts for anybody under 2. They won't cherish it. This is the person who in the same breath is telling us that everything is awesome. That everything, you can buy everything. You will be great during the holiday season. Now having his propaganda channel telling people, well, if they're kids and elderly, F them. They definitely don't need you to buy stuff for them this holiday season. You need to save money. Even though the economy's great, tariffs great. Fucking liars. And some of you are still wholeheartedly buying this garbage. It's amazing.
And downgraded brands and then declared victory on price. And we all just know when we leave our home that it is not cheaper. We know that things are not cheaper.
At all.
We know that Thanksgiving this year is not 25% cheaper, but he thinks we are stupid. He thinks we are so desperate to hear that everything is great that we will swallow it.
And again, I go to Walmart and other companies, and in every case, it's about 25%. That a meal, a Thanksgiving meal and surroundings are 25% lower than it was under the Biden administration. That's a big fact, and that comes from Walmart and others that do that. Okay?
We are not dumb. We know Thanksgiving prices are not 25% lower. We know the cover-up did not magically become transparency overnight. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent appears on what they call state regime media Fox and admits that the trade deal with China is not even complete yet. Maria Bartiromo asks him about reports that China is not sending over rare earth elements, that they are still enforcing export controls on companies with any relationship with the U.S. military. She reminds him that Donald Trump claimed he was going to just allow all of the rare earth elements to be released. Bessent tries to brush off Wall Street Journal reporting as not very accurate, and then quietly concedes, "We haven't even finished the agreement, which we hope to have done by Thanksgiving. They said there was a deal in May. Then they said there was a deal in June. Then they said there was a deal in September. Every 2 months there was a..."
Who are they, Mr. Bessent? You can't use the made-up people in your head to excuse the fact that China never really had a deal with Trump. That Trump blew the deal that President Biden had gotten for our farmers, and that so many people warned that you were poking a sleeping giant, which Anonymous is about to get to, with other countries swooping in to take over where we used to lead and things. It's ridiculous.
Deal. Now they say Thanksgiving. It sounds exactly like his fake health care plan during the first term. Give me 2 more weeks. It never comes. Meanwhile, under Biden, the rare earth export controls had actually been loosened, and American farmers were exporting around 27 million metric tons of soybeans. Under Trump's chaotic approach, that number drops to 0 at one point. China says maybe they will take 12 million metric tons, maybe not because they already have so many soybeans stockpiled from Brazil and Argentina. America helped bail out Argentina for $40 billion while ripping away health care from Americans and hurting American farmers. $40 billion that could have protected the Affordable Care Act for the remainder of the year was sent abroad. And then Argentina sells soybeans to China to undercut U.S. farmers. So there is...
So he gave $40 billion to Argentina. I don't want to get it mixed up because Venezuela is the innocent country he's currently attacking. For them to turn around and go to China and go, hey, you know, we sell soybeans too, and we can get you a better, cheaper deal. Thus fucking over our farmers. And this idiot's still crowing about how he's making everything great. It would be funny satire if it wasn't degrading our economic, agricultural, and all kinds of global status. It is shameful that there are still some people still trying to buy into the Trump Kool-Aid after all this.
There's no real deal. The farmers are squeezed, but Trump's team goes on TV and says we hope to have a deal by Thanksgiving, like it is just another slogan. And speaking of they think you're stupid, look at the propaganda coming out of the Department of Homeland Security. They literally create this bizarre, awful video where they say we want to be very clear. We never do pepper spray into vehicles.
Ma'am, there are literal videos of people pepper spraying children. This is why so many citizens, and I keep my phone on me just in case, have taken to recording stuff themselves so that they can't continuously scream fake news as they commit domestic terrorism and human rights violations against men, women, and children just trying to go to school or go to work or do average American things, but happen to have brown skin or look like they don't belong here. How many more times are they going to try to lie when we have them in 4K committing these acts of horror? But let's play this. Let's see what this another talking Trump head tries to lie and say.
In the same piece, they show Border Patrol pepper spraying into a vehicle. It is not even good propaganda. Deputy Assistant Secretary Lauren Bick appears on screen and says she is there to set the record straight on a few fake news stories.
Liar.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bick, Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. And I'm here to set the record straight on a few fake news stories from this
Bullshit.
week. First, we have another disgusting pepper spray hoax.
You know what? It's really disgusting? The fact that you can sit there and lie so straight-faced when there are plenty of video footage that contradicts your stuff. You can yell fake news all you want, but eventually people are going to get tired of being told that the stuff we see live in 4K, both recorded and live streamed now, so that people can't say, oh, it's a deep fake. There are plenty of live streams of people being harassed by ICE, including children. But keep on trying to play, because not everybody's as dumb as your MAGA loyals.
Guys, ICE does not pepper spray children.
Yes,
Here
you
are the
do.
facts. During an operation, rioters began throwing objects at agents and blocking the road. This did not occur in a Sam's Club parking lot. Border Patrol deployed crowd control measures and safely cleared the area.
There are plenty of videos in schools, daycare centers, places like Sam's, places like Walmart, just people walking down the street, apartment buildings in places like Chicago, the terror that they're currently doing in Charlotte, North Carolina. But you're going to let these people try to spin it as if we don't got eyeballs. And it's like Anonymous said, in their same video, they literally show Border Patrol pepper spraying people. What the? Okay, whatever.
When rioters impede law enforcement operations, they are putting others in danger. These journalists should stop smearing ICE law enforcement and start covering the facts.
The message.
ICE should stop terrorizing citizens and stop being mass weirdos who grab up innocent people who, a lot of them, end up being legal citizens. This is literally stop and frisk on steroids. And for those of you who don't know what stop and frisk was, it was a law in places like New York and New Jersey and even California that allowed cops to judge people suspiciously based on the color of their skin and frisk them for any reason. It's bigotry. Point blank, period.
And the images collide. The journalists they mock are proved right by the government's own footage.
Yep.
We are anonymous. We do not forget. We do not look away when power and abuse collide. If you are awake, do not sit in silence. Use your voice. Use your reach. Share this story. Spread the truth.
And that is what I do. And I want to thank you all who sit in and watch this, all of you who share this, all of you who sit in on the YouTube re-upload. And it's like I said, I really want to get back to doing the YouTube lives. But when it comes to priorities, outside these 2 days that I dedicate the afternoons to a bit of live streaming and painting, I cannot fully commit to the full live stream format that I used to do yet. But I am looking forward to it. Like I said, we have new printed out Phase 1 gorilla figures. I am going to ask whoever wins these if they want them plain to paint themselves or painted, which I've shown you the painted version of 2D, and I will trot them out when I'm able to do the giveaway stream. I have a lot that I want to do for the holiday season, and I am very excited behind that. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, finish this paint job. When I'm back on Friday, I will show you the finished work of Princess Zelda's diorama. I am very excited, and like I said, she is not the first attempt at this. I did this one a while ago. The candlesticks broke off that one, so I really wanted to be careful this time with this. And I think I can do an even better job with the new one, all the while protecting the parts that I don't want coming off of it. And it's like I said, this crafting chat is not only good for me for venting purposes, but it is good to get the word out about what's going on in our current society. I miss stability. I miss not knowing politicians by name, but knowing that their work is keeping us in stable times. I miss people that don't treat politics like they're twisted soap operas or wrestling match or football game, but people who just want those who legislate and are our true voices in our House, in our Senate, and in our White House. And if you feel the way I feel right now, if you are sick of the everyday deluge of awful, you will vote like your life depends on it for harm reduction. You will do everything you can to get this regime out as soon as possible, because without this, America is done for. This is not hyperbolic. This is the real. But I'm going to wrap this up. I will see you all on Friday. I'm hoping for Saturday. I believe that there's nothing planned, but every time I say that, we end up having to go into town or downstate. So like I said, if you see something on Friday night that goes up for an afternoon stream on Saturday, you'll know I'll be there. But if you don't, I'm going to try after the Thanksgiving holiday then. But right now, I am done ranting. I'm going to get back to painting, and I will see you all soon.